every time Hamilton goes off, please report it.
I mean, he's going off every lap everywhere. I'm not going to talk the whole time. This car's slow, mate.
Okay, copy. Okay, Lou, so we now have a black and white flag for track limits. It's turn 10.
I can't keep it on the track, the car won't turn.
Hours plus from Shanghai to F1 HQ, and we're ready for exclusive interviews, unseen driver moments, and of course some special guests. It's time for episode 2 of the Cool Down Room. So what are we waiting for? Let's have it! Hello and welcome back to the Cool Down Room, where we are all so refreshed and ready to go because we've all just been in Shanghai. We've all had a good sleep from all of the excitement of a sprint race weekend. And to join me on the team, don't interject, Laura, by telling me you're not ready for this show, because we are joined by the one and only man who knows everything about F1, and you would definitely have him in your F1 quiz team. And he also, as I found out, loves a crossword. It's Jolyon Palmer! Joining us, she has been gracing your screens all race weekend on F1 TV. And when I said, can you come and join the Cool Down Room, she said, more screen time? Yes, please. It's Laura Winter! And joining us this week is a very special guest who's making her second appearance on the Cool Down Room, fresh from a double podium in Shanghai. It is, of course, F1 Academy driver, Chloe Chambers! Chloe, welcome to the show. I was that tempted to be whooping USA, USA, but that might have been too much.
You know, somebody did that.
Did they?
Yeah, race 1 podium, somebody was like up there, wherever that is. Yeah. And then they were like, USA. And I was like, hi.
Love that.
I love that. Guys, let's talk about it then, straight in. Jolyon, how was the weekend for you?
It was a cool weekend, wasn't it? Like, I don't know if I'm on Australian time, Chinese time, or UK time right now. It's been a lot, but it's been a lot of fun.
Laura, sprint race weekend had a bit of everything, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. So many incredible storylines. You had Lewis winning for the first time in red. You have what looks like could be a brilliant battle between the two McLaren drivers. For the drivers' title, George Russell also up there. Red Bull seemingly at odds with where they're at. There's a lot going on, and it was, yeah, very, very good weekend.
I thoroughly enjoyed you saying ciao lots of times to...
Ciao!
Ciao!
Ciao.
Nice one, Ollie. Good job.
There was a lot of sassy radio on Sunday, which I really appreciate.
I'm curious to know, did you bring us back anything from Shanghai to put on the board?
I did. I'm loving this. A little souvenir from each race for season 2 of the Cool Down Room. I have a postcard from Shanghai,
lovely.
the gorgeous Shanghai skyline. I'll go and put it up.
Oh, please, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
While we do that, actually, I've brought something back as well, actually, guys.
The red pen.
Jolyon, you're going to love this. So this is to hang up on the Cool Down Room and the pin. And what that translates as...
It looks like a rosette.
Yeah, kind of. But it's to bring good luck. So hopefully we get episode 3. So there we go.
You bought this for Jolyon. Does he need good luck? Specifically?
Always.
Would you like to put that on the board,
Can
please?
I please?
Yeah, please. That bit of good luck. I thought that's nice.
Is that do you know what the symbol is?
No.
Just the good luck symbol. The classic good luck.
I think so. I was told categorically that's going to bring good luck to the Cool Down Room studio. Thank you very much.
Taking one for the team. Thanks, Tom.
We need it. Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Talking of absolutely amazing times in Shanghai, a double podium. Chloe, what was it like? Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, of course, good way to start the year, ending up in P3 in the championship, going into round 2, but we have 6 more races left. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the circuit. We had the reverse grid race come back as well, so that was exciting. And then, yeah, I mean, close battles up front, so I think that'll be continuing on for the rest of the year.
Later on, you're going to be taking part in the real Constructors Championship. This is where Chloe will be seeing how quickly she can build a mini F1 car. 7 minutes and 6 seconds is the time to beat, set by Matt Gallagher. We'll find out how she does very shortly. However, it is time for Secret Challenge on episode 2 of the Cool Down Room. And in this very heavy fishbowl is a set of secret challenges. And Laura, did you know about this? You're going to be doing a secret... Okay,
is it me?
Well, here we go. You're finding out as we record this. So you're going to reach inside this bowl and pick out a secret challenge. Now, for those who didn't see episode 1, Laura has to do this challenge without myself, Chloe, or Jolyon finding out what she is doing. I'm guessing this is going to be a tricky challenge and a fun challenge. So
I'm really looking forward to this. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while.
Oh, it's a fun one.
Oh, teaser.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right, then. We know what the secret challenge is and we know what's coming up. So this is going to be a great show. Let's get started. All right then, the race weekend goes by so quick. Let's have a look back together at some of the things we spotted on socials and the TV feeds from China. Guys, turn your attention to Spotted On. These are all the things that happened. Of course, I wasn't expecting this. This wasn't on my bingo card. Watching a unicorn playing basketball. This guy's got 50 million followers. And that is not the world's tallest man, shockingly, but Yao Ming, 7'6" tall, 3-time NBA All-Star, born to play basketball. Someone who wasn't was Ollie Behrman.
Behind the scenes, Jolyon and I took to the court, didn't shoot a single hoop between us.
I love this. When you're looking for a bit of bromance and also teammates, George and Kimi on a scooter together.
This robot
Freaky.
was creepy as hell.
They had to be sent in early because they take quite a long time to get to their seats. Big drones hovering over the track with what looks like someone's backpack. Has anyone lost this? Vettel was missing, apparently. If you do spot him, send the details to that contact. Uno reverse card, love to see that. The fans were loving it. The Kirk team radio getting some love from the fans as well. And fans holding up pictures of Carlos and Alex with their dogs. Why not? What's going on here? Oh, someone just casually walking past the F1 TV camera there. And even Charles Leclerc swings by as well. That's what you get on the paddock. It's chaos. There's movement everywhere. Love it. And of course, Lewis on pole to victory in the sprint race's first win for the Tifosi. And they were just loving Lewis. It was a fever of Lewis Hamilton, the number 44, everywhere.
It was epic, wasn't it? So much support for him.
Top stuff there. How tall was that Chinese basketball player? I saw on the grid, it was with Guan Yu Zhou, and the height difference was phenomenal.
Didn't spot him. Tall enough, he needed another couple of inches.
So what happened with your basketball shoot in the hoops? Nothing happened.
We thought we'd head to the court first thing, didn't we? And
Before cameras, yeah.
Before
crucially.
cameras. Well, hopefully the.
I've got footage.
No,
it's on my
please
phone.
tell me you haven't got footage.
I've got footage. It looked like a netball throw from you, and Jolyon just.
I went full
skied.
netball on it. Yeah, I did go full netball. Useless. Didn't get a single hoop.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The fans were amazing though. There was some other. That robot was creepy. Very creepy.
You were like, this
Don't
is a
love
hard
it.
no.
Don't love it, yeah.
You said the words hard no to me in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, it was a robot walking through the paddock.
Creepy as hell.
What's going on with the George and Kimi on a scooter? You would sometimes with your teammates, F1 Academy with Alicia maybe, scooter.
Well,
paddock?
I would choose to take myself and only myself.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't trust myself to drive, and I don't trust myself to ride. So
It's giving Big Brother energy.
yeah.
Yeah, it did a little bit. We've got to talk about that moment, Laura.
Yeah.
With F1 TV, it's filming live, and then at which point people are just walking past. What's that like?
I know, we had poor Alex with us telling us about his race, and then Charles walked past, absolutely mobbed by fans. And when a driver is about, people lose all concept of space and spatial awareness and what's going on around them, and they were just like flying past us, and Alex completely lost his train of thought, so did we.
It's not
Typical
easy.
chaos on F1 TV, basically.
Yeah, there was a big smile on your face though, Jolyon. You were enjoying that moment. Why not?
Embrace the chaos.
Why would
I love you
it
look
was
at Alex and he's like, what? Where's the next person coming from?
But it looks dangerous because you're just people are walking behind you. They can bump into you, and you just got to stay in the zone.
There is
Hey,
an element of expecting
Formula
to be
One has some
flawed.
danger around, but I would say sort of standing stationary in the paddock is.
It's not one of them.
I think we can
I think
handle
that's
that.
I think that's the most
we've got
dangerous
it.
I'm going to be, though. That's in the most danger I'd be.
It's adrenaline. It's an
watching
adrenaline
fans
sport.
flying at you.
As always, the drivers have been paraded around and had the chance to meet plenty of excited fans. I was right in the middle of it, and I can tell you now the atmosphere was electric. One fan even offered me a beer mid-show, and I was very professional. I said no, because that's the absolute dedication I give to this job. Let's take a look at some of the most entertaining moments from the fan stage. Yeah, he was
Whoa,
mobbed.
that's epic.
Wow. And that's the most since 2001.
Look at this cheeky.
What
I
are
was reading the signs here. Somebody is asking me to go topless.
Oh, it
I
does.
I don't think it's very suitable at 8:30
It's okay,
in the morning,
it's okay.
to be honest.
Just
I love
go
Kiki's
on his
response here.
Instagram. There's
Oh.
so many of them.
Okay.
She took off her shirt.
Oh. Oh.
Like, so now she
Woo.
not that, not like that. I meant like she took off her jacket or something,
okay.
and now she's full papaya.
Oh, good.
Are Leo and Roscoe best friends?
They actually get on.
They kind of get on, but I wouldn't say they're best friends yet.
They haven't spent enough time
together, but that's a really cool picture.
I didn't. I was a good boy last few days.
Those sunglasses,
I had
wow.
so much.
That's a lot.
Dumplings,
I love
Sharon
it.
Pao, and Peking duck was really good. So the food here is it's amazing.
Guan Yu Zhou, a man of the people and an absolute rock star. If only I got that kind of reception every time I came home from a race, but I definitely don't. All right, it's time to dive back into the real Constructors' Championship. Matt had the tough job of going first last week. Someone had to take the plunge. Chloe, we'll be checking in on your attempt in a moment, but how did you think it went? Give us a little insight into your technique, what you were aiming to achieve.
I think it went pretty solid. I didn't really have a technique, to be honest. I just, read through the instructions and followed the instructions.
Okay, but have you?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, that's solid techers. You can't change that.
Can't do that. That's what you're supposed to do, really, isn't it?
But so you've Legoed before.
I have Legoed before.
There was some Lego experience going on.
You could just tell. You could tell. No perspiration, no sweat.
Pro.
All right, okay. Well, I'm intrigued. Let's find out how you did. Hello and welcome. You join us here for the real Constructors' Championship Round 2. I personally am really looking forward to this exciting build. Joining me is Chloe Chambers from Red Bull Ford Academy program. And as the tension builds, the highlights are here. We're expecting so much drama. I think I built it up quite a lot there. Chloe Chambers, are you ready for this? Your time starts now. Not an easy challenge, this.
All right. Come on, Chloe. Come on.
Any tactics, any words of wisdom, Laura?
I'd have just started. I wouldn't have done this thorough look through.
I'm impressed
if
by
in
this.
doubt,
Wing it,
All right, I give up.
Yeah,
I'm not going to remember. Oh, I messed up.
Oh, my word.
Pieces have been thrown around.
No, I got this.
Lovely stuff.
I've built enough Lego cars to know this part, so I just want to beat Matt.
Yeah, you've got to, and go top of the leaderboard.
As long as I'm not last, to be honest.
Rising here.
This is absolutely right.
But I actually really enjoy Lego, so this is fun.
You're on for a great time here.
Okay, that's good.
Delta's looking good. Okay.
Skipped a page, you're so far ahead.
I guess it does help as well that I have some smaller hands than him.
Yeah, he's actually got quite small hands as well, actually. There was a breakage towards the end last time.
Yeah, that's not going to happen this time.
So competitive, I love it.
When you were on the podium, did you expect that this could be the next thing you were doing?
No, but... Oh, actually, I know this part now because I've done this already on the other side. It does help a little bit if the car's the same left to right.
Oh my God.
I've already
This
done
is
the
just
wheels.
phenomenal. This is
just the drive.
Oh, yeah. There is a spare piece, but I'll put it right here for symmetry.
There you go.
Whoa!
Chloe Chambers for the Real Constructors' Championship. That was phenomenal. Let's find out how you did. Chloe Chambers, that was truly exceptional. It was very quick. Do you think you have beaten Matt Gallagher's time?
I think easily.
Okay, fair enough. No hanging about with that. I can now reveal your time was 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 0.68. Chloe Chambers, that's less than half of the time. That is truly sensational. Would you like to put that on the board?
I would like to put that up.
You now go top
P1.
spot. A round of applause for Chloe
P1,
Chambers.
baby.
Exceptional.
Such a pro, unbelievable.
Leave that there then.
Yeah. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Oh.
The support team.
My
surely.
mom and dad and my grandparents for buying me Legos when I was younger.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay. You could have got a mention though.
Yeah.
Sorry, actually not.
I gave you a lot of support.
No, the audience was great.
Yeah.
company was
Always thank the fans.
Yeah.
Always the fans.
Truly stunning performance there, Chloe. You should be very proud. P1 now. Right, moving on. Up next, we're getting to know Charles Leclerc a little better, known in China as Lulu, which means joy and happy. Just a little extra fact that you didn't ask for. Time to go behind the visor and see what makes him tick.
Getting to know with Charles Leclerc in a few short questions. We're hoping to tease out the real personality behind Charles Leclerc. I'm going to start by asking Charles, can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Humble, hard worker. Is that considered 2 words or? And simple.
Charles, what made you fall in love with Formula One?
I think the driving in itself and the sound of the cars. But the driving has really been what I've loved about this sport. I mean, I obviously didn't start in a Formula 1 car, but starting in karting and understanding the feeling of what it is like to be driving a karting was what made me fall in love with this sport.
So when and where did you first drive anything?
I think it was like the electric trucks, you know, that you have for like babies. That's, I think, the first thing I've ever driven. I was drifting with it, and I really enjoyed it. And then it was a karting.
How many times did it take you to pass your test?
First time, and I'm very proud to say that, because in Monaco it's difficult. There's quite a bit of traffic, so I was very tense, probably more than I am going into a qualifying. I mean, it would have looked so bad to not go through the first time as a driver.
Who's your best friend in the paddock here?
I mean, Pierre is the friend that I've had for longest, for sure. We know each other since we are 6 years old.
Fantasy dinner party, 3 personalities from Formula 1, past, present, alive or dead. Who would you pick?
Ayrton Senna, Michael, and Ascari. Different eras, but very special drivers.
Charles, what's your favorite film or TV show of all time?
I've always been a huge fan of Harry Potter, when I was younger especially.
Final question. We know that you're a musical chap. What's your go-to karaoke song?
I love music, but I'm a very bad singer, like very, very bad. So I try to avoid karaoke as much as I can. But if I've really got to sing, I'll go for We Are the Champions, only because the lyrics is very easy to remember, and I'm very bad at remembering the lyrics.
Well, I hope that will be your 2025 song, Charles.
I hope so too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Such a good guy, Charles Leclerc. Ace on the track and off it as well, passing his driving test first time, Jolyon. Did you pass your driving test first time?
Word's come around, hasn't it? Third time.
Third time? That's caused such a laughter from Laura. Can you talk us through it? What happened?
The best drivers passed third time.
Yeah.
And I had an absolute mare for 2.
Hey, but I will say this about Jolyon Palmer's analysis, fantastic show. People should watch it. You really know your onions, you would say.
Thank you.
About F1. But do you know that much about the different car parts? Because it is time to quiz Jolyon Palmer with Where's That Part? Are you ready? Here's how it's going to work. This is the game. I'm going to give you a name of an F1 car part, and then you tell me where it is on the car. Does that sound simple?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. And it is the halo. Where would you find the halo, Jolyon? First test here.
Do you want me to...
Yes.
It's that one there.
Perfect. Let's find out if Jolyon's correct here. This is the halo. And of course, yes! There it is. Wow. Absolutely smashed it. Okay. Feeling good so far?
Yeah, really strong. Turns out I know Formula 1. This is great.
Okay. All right, then. Here we go. He's feeling confident now. What about the side pod?
Should we try there?
Yep. Okay, yeah. Great stuff. Feel like this is just a given. Absolutely smashed it. There's a side pod, Jolyon. This was not a test by management to see whether you get to keep doing Palmer's analysis, by the way. Where is a shark fin? Where will we find the shark fin, Jolyon?
Up here?
Okay, let's find out if Jolyon's correct. You sound a little bit unsure.
They don't have the shark fin so much anymore. So that is a shark fin.
Okay.
But that's like a 2009 car.
Lovely.
But anyway.
The pupil becomes the teacher.
Let's see if we can turn up the volume on this one. Where would we find the pitot tube?
The pitot tube?
Pitot. It's written down here.
About there.
No,
and we're keeping that in. The pitot, sorry, Tom, the pitot tube just in there.
Jolyon, where would you find the pitot tube? Where would you find it?
Where to find the
pitot tube?
The pitot tube. So you're going to find that right about there.
Okay. Let's find out if you're right. Paul push rods. Where would you find those on the F1 car? Could be the quickest quiz ever. This is why I said
find them about there.
Yep. Okay.
About there.
All right. Lovely stuff. Let's find out. We really didn't know how to quiz you. Where is the floor stay?
The floor stay. Let's try it about there.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Moving on. Wing adjusters.
So your wing adjusters coming, quick fix, change of the front wing, somewhere up there.
That is right. So that's well done on that. He really does know his stuff. All right, last one. Where would you find the NRSC? It's part of, obviously these new regulations will change. Whether that will stay or not, we'll have to find out for that. So I can break it down for you if you'd like to know about that. It's the Neural Response Steering Core.
Yeah. Try it there then.
Sure. I'm kidding, Jolyon. You were so knowledgeable with the F1 car. I was going to say it was the fake AI-assisted steering system that predicts driver input. So it was just a little trick question. Jolyon, come on.
There we go. I was getting worried there at the end. The NRSC.
Jolyon, you've absolutely smashed that. Didn't he do well, Laura, Chloe?
Really well.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, very impressed.
Top stuff there. Chloe Chambers is our guest this week, but I thought we'd go back to your 2024 F1 Academy champion to find out a little bit more from Abby Pulling.
Hi, Cool Down Room. I'm Abby Pulling, F1 Academy 2024 champion. The one thing I'm most excited about this year is seeing if Jakesy gets a bit taller. No, I'm joking. I'm actually looking forward to starting the new season. I think there's been a long winter. Seeing the kind of the new car that I'm racing this year, the GB3, after winning the F1 Academy title, it's going to be an exciting one. My proudest moment of 2024 was Miami. It was an incredible weekend. It kind of started the whole trajectory of the rest of the season. But Singapore is one that I can never forget. It was incredible to be on the podium there. I think even racing around them streets, it's an achievement, let alone being stood on the top of the podium. The first thing I thought of when I won the title was my family and friends and people who have helped me get to that point. My race team, I just wanted to thank and hug everyone. Although I'm there stood holding the trophy and crossing the line, it's everyone around me that's helped me get there. The most valuable piece of advice I've been given is a little saying, and it is, comparison is the thief of joy. Advice that I would pass on to the F1 Academy 2025 rookies is make the most of the opportunity that you've got. You've only got 2 years to prove what you're worth, and there's so many people that want to be in that position, so make sure to put 110% into it. I'm a firm believer in what you put in, you'll get out of it.
Great to hear from Abby Pulling there. And like we all are, she's looking forward to seeing if Alex gets any taller. That is brutal. That is brutal from Abby Pulling.
Absolutely savage.
Alex Jakes, we're obviously referring to, F1 commentator.
We are.
All right, then. Now, back to the action of the show. The next race is coming up fast. So any predictions for Japan? Guys, Japan is the next race. Jolyon, looking forward to it?
Yeah, always looking forward to Japan. It's fun. It's cool. I think Max is going to be really strong. I think a lot of chat about Red Bull generally, but I don't know. I just see them bouncing back. He's always good in Japan.
Yeah, OK.
Return of the Max is what you predicted in our post-show, didn't you?
Exactly. I think people are writing him off too early. That's my feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll see. We've seen, obviously, the wet in Australia, then a different kind of track and a sprint weekend in China. I think we'll begin to see a bit more of the potential of some of the other teams as well coming into Japan. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be mega.
And, Chloe, you will not be in Japan, but you're getting ready for Jeddah for the next F1 Academy. Looking forward to that race?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Jeddah. I think it'll be exciting to see how we all go with a lot of the new rookies on the grid. And then, of course, with the second-year drivers having already raced at Jeddah the year prior. So, I mean, we have 3 days of testing beforehand, the weekend of Japan, actually. So we'll just have to see then kind of how things stack up. And then, yeah, race weekend.
All right, looking forward to it. Now, before we say goodbye, there was a secret challenge going on, ladies and gentlemen. Laura, you had a secret challenge. Any guesses?
Nothing. I mean, I've seen her do a couple of little weird things, but
that just could be Laura. Yeah. All right.
Oh my God, absolutely savage from Chloe.
It can't be Laura just being weird, can it?
Laura.
That's just me.
Yeah. It was. Be weird.
Could you finally reveal? Because we've got no idea.
Yeah, I have been mimicking a co-host for this entire show.
Oh,
It's Jolyon Palmer.
You've been mimicking me.
I would never in my life sit like this normally, especially on television with my legs like this.
Have you not noticed your co-host, Jolyon? Look at that.
Have you done? You've been sitting like me.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Mimicking you.
How many different ways can you sit?
So what other things have you been doing? A big thanks to Laura and Jolyon for joining me this week. And of course, our special guest, Chloe. All the best for your next race in Jeddah. We'll catch you next week for more Cool Down Room. And here's something to get you excited for the Japanese Grand Prix.
A fabled circuit. The crowd love it.
Welcome to Suzuka.
For me, it's one of my favorite ones, if not my favorite.
Max, go!
Suzuka is just special.
What a drive.
Let's go, guys!
No difference. And then Max is steering it one little oversteer, and the rest of it just so smooth and everything, whereas Charles was fighting that car, he was driving it hard. So those are the sort of nuances you need to look for to really try and understand where everyone is. Going back to the Mercedes thing, I haven't looked in detail at their data, but, you know, I don't think the pecking order has changed massively. It's the gaps that will be interesting, I think.
I know you love the data, Pat, but you love to go trackside and watch the cars as they go around. You just told us about that. That Ferrari, when they start to push on it, for me, it starts to look a little bit leery.
Yep, I completely agree with you, and you can see it on the data, you see it to some extent on the track. Now, one thing you've got to remember when you're testing in Bahrain is the wind. You know, it's notorious for it. And some cars are much better in a crosswind than others. And all the time over the 3 days, we've had this sort of tailwind down the back straight. So as you get to turn 11, it's pushing the cars out. And I think that might be why we've had some problems with the drains, because they're being pushed out onto the curbs where the drains are and pulling the covers off. But yeah, I would agree. I think the Ferrari looks a lot harder to drive. And maybe when Max starts pushing it, maybe his will look similar, but an awful lot faster.
Pat, I'm loving listening to how you see the cars behave and the minute details that sort of the layman's may not pick up on. When are you going to come trackside for us on F1 TV? Can we get you out there to do some hits?
Anytime you want.
Oh, there we go. Producer
weekend,
Joe,
Pat.
anytime you want. Brilliant stuff. Pat, thank you very much for your insights. I'm really glad you've enjoyed testing. We can now throw to Sam Collins. He's in the studio taking a closer look at that Mercedes suspension.
Yeah, thanks, Laurie. It was absolutely fascinating to hear Pat describing what I call absolutely top-tier technical nerd trolling from the Mercedes team. They showed this pre-season launch render that had clearly got a CGI glitch on it. These renders generally aren't worth the pixels they're printed on, and we all thought that was a load of rubbish. Turns out, as Pat said, it absolutely wasn't. What Mercedes have been doing is mucking about with some of their suspension positions, and that is pretty fundamental to car design. Have a look here. You can see the element we're talking, the rear upper wishbone on the front suspension. Look at that. That's the car from the day before, and then have a look at the different version we've got here. Now, if I draw that arrow a bit longer, you can see that there is a significant difference between the different suspension elements between the 2 days of running. Now, that angle between these two sections is absolutely huge. And the reason we've got so excited about this is this. You cannot simply change a part of a modern Formula One car just like that. You can't just modify the front suspension, bolt a different bit on. You actually have to change the chassis of the car. And it's a really big job. Mercedes clearly have designed this new car with this in mind. And I think James Allison was playing it down a little bit, because you'll see here, there's a big old lump on the chassis where you can see very clearly here where the team have bolted on a panel to allow different suspension positions to be experimented with. So on this version, you have the suspension arm coming in down here, but on the version they used earlier on, you can see it up here. Now, could they have one that goes in the middle? Who knows? But this is a big change, because you can't just bolt a section into a Formula One car monocoque like that. You have to do all sorts of structural stuff inside the car like that. And it's a hugely big engineering job. So I think Mercedes are going to be playing with this quite a lot more as the season goes on. Laura, I can see you're with the whole crew back there in Bahrain.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Sam. We have made our way out onto the grid, where in just over a week's time we will see the start of the first Grand Prix of the 2024 season. We've also picked up a few friends along the way. Jolyon Palmer, Lawrence Barretto and Alex Jakes out of the commentary box and down here onto the grid with us. Hello, how are we doing?
Very good.
More locations, more people. The show is packed.
We can't quite hear you over there. Lawrence, how are you? How have you enjoyed the 3 days?
I've had a great 3 days of testing, spending time with all of you guys in the commentary box and the office. You guys getting very excited as they were doing slightly performance runs towards the end of the session today. It's been great. I'm ready for the first race.
Yes, we're just going to cover off a few of the other teams that we haven't spoken about just yet. I'm going to come to each of you, throw you a random team. Alex Jakes, RB, your thoughts?
RB always look good in testing around here, and then you get to the end of the year, they end up in roughly the same place in the Constructors' Championship. So I think that is going to happen.
Lawrence, Sauber.
Oh, I think they had a really difficult test. I think they would have hoped to have gone with all the changes they made to the car over the winter. I think they would have hoped to have more reliable runs. They didn't really have that too many niggles. It was kind of like a couple of years ago when they built a car that just had too many problems that they couldn't kind of cure to the first 4, 5, 6, 7 races. So I'm a little bit worried for them heading into the season.
OK. Jolyon, Haas, please.
In the worry category as well. I think they're a little bit worried for themselves, but they've been playing down expectations so much. They've still got 2 established drivers. We know how quick on Saturdays Nico can be. We know how racy on Sundays Kev can be. And they showed a little bit of pace as well at the end today in the power hour. So whilst they've been playing everything down, I don't think they're going to be adrift at the back, but I don't think they're going to be in the midfield.
Come on, call the power hour what it's really known as. Jolyon Palmer's Power Hour.
Branded.
Branded with
Copyrighted,
graphics.
and that's it, every year now.
We've got, I mean, we should have a buzzer for it or something. Will Williams, of course.
Difficult start. A couple of major issues on day one. Steadily got better throughout the week. Logan Sargent nowhere near as comfortable as Alex Albon in the car. He needs to step on this year. He's made a huge effort in the gym over the winter. Car looked much better today. Quick runs look pretty good. I don't think moving beyond 7th is going to be that easy for them. I think ahead of Haas, ahead of Sauber, if Alpine are as worried as they now say they might be, possibly ahead of Alpine as well. So around that P7.
We shall see. Christian Hugel is with Alex Albon right now.
Alex Albon, what do you know about your car now that you didn't at the start of pre-season testing?
I would say the first thing is we've got a decent car to go racing with. I think day 1, day 2, we were a little bit on the back foot. We were struggling with the car. Just how different it is, we were struggling to rebalance it. I think today we made some big headways in just making the car more drivable. Still not perfect, easy to make mistakes, but quicker, and that's important.
James Vowles, team principal, had said that he was looking to make the car more predictable, more consistent for you and Logan. Do you feel you've made progress on that as the test's gone on compared to where you were on Wednesday?
We have it. We initially shifted the problem to a different area, so we fixed some of the issues we had last year. We definitely fixed them over into this year, and then when we went into day 1 and day 2, we picked up some things we didn't like, and we did a bit of a radical setup today. Tried to really change it up a bit. Seemed to work out for the better, so that's good.
We know it's testing, and there's always the too early to tell caveat, but the sort of behind Red Bull teams look really close together, and those points positions will be really sort of competitive. How close do you think you can get to that pack, do you think? Because you were able to put the car in the points often at the end of last season.
Yeah, let's see. I think the Ferrari still looks strong. Mercedes don't look too bad either. I don't want to make it sound like it's the original top 3 teams. I don't think it is. I still need to look at the data, but it's true that the midfield is closed up. Frustratingly, it just seems like everyone's kind of made the same jump from last year, so everyone's made quite a big step, but it's all quite equal throughout the field. Yeah, that's it. It'll just be about the fine details and track to track. If your car suits them, the circuit a little bit more than the others.
If it's that close, could be good fun for you guys next weekend. Could be in for an interesting race.
Could be. Let's. I mean, I like the boring ones. Boring and in the points. But,
we don't.
You know, I do. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to have more fun than we are.
That's good. And just finally, long old day for you today in hot temperatures. How are you feeling now?
It's okay. The more than anything, it's just you go into a quali sim after doing a few race laps. It feels a little bit weird, but it's okay. It's good to get the mileage in. We've now got a few days to rest, and we need to get that exposure to the driving, because obviously we don't get much of it. So Nick's going to feed it a little bit tomorrow.
Go and have a nice couple of days, and good luck next week.
Thank you. Thanks.
So good to hear Alex Albon in better spirits. A tricky start to testing for Williams with a few technical gremlins, as to be expected for the first car of the season, but they've smoothed them out and got some decent track time under their belts. I think it's time to revisit Will Buxton's pecking order.
Yeah, nailed my colours to the mast early, didn't I, on day 1?
Very early. Has it changed?
It's changed a bit. It hasn't changed substantially. So I still think Red Bull, top of the pile. I don't think there's any disagreement in that.
Yes.
Really been struggling to figure out who would put second between Ferrari and McLaren, but I'm going to put Ferrari there. one lap.
Agreements all round on that?
One lap looks a bit leery, but their race pace looks so much better, and conservation of the tyres looks so much better than last year. Then McLaren P3, then Aston Martin P4, then Mercedes.
No, Aston Martin are lower.
You reckon?
They're lower, yeah.
Okay.
Would you put Mercedes then?
Yeah,
P4?
Mercedes next.
And then Aston?
I don't know, I'd put RB then Aston.
I'll be ahead of Aston.
I'll be happy with Aston. Aston have had a good test.
I'm not sure about their long run pace.
I reckon.
Fernando looked great this
I reckon
afternoon.
better than McLaren this afternoon.
Not so much. Pardon?
Aston looked better than McLaren this afternoon. When Alonso and Piastri were on track at the same time, Oscar's times plummeted. Fernando's just stayed steady as a rock.
Fernando, though, isn't it?
True.
Fernando
Right.
effect.
So, where were
That's
we?
the insight you're
RB.
after.
So deadpan.
RB. And then for the, I've already said the bottom four, so Williams, Alpine, Sauber.
Williams above Alpine?
Just.
Okay.
I think that's too punchy for Williams.
Okay, that's
I
cool.
think they've come with high expectations, and as the test has gone on, actually from quite early on, I think they've thought, like Alex Albon actually just said, everyone else has improved so much, so the gains that they thought they had, they're looking around, and everyone's quite happy with their own performance, but you look around, and when everyone's happy, then it means the game's moved on, and I think Williams, maybe that's a bit punchy.
We've seen and heard nearly everything in testing across 24 hours of running, but we're going to see something else next week. Have a look at this.
What? Oh, good Lord, you teed that up.
There are
was
some
it
teams that have got less
How it should be done.
airtime than Laura's F4 test this week.
You said there were no
Excited for
cameras there.
There's obviously been some footage, and you're apparently all going to see more of that next week. Yes, for those who haven't heard, throughout the course of the weekend, I haven't mentioned it that much, I did have the incredible opportunity to do 10 laps in an F4 car around this circuit, and I learned an enormous amount, and I really hoped it wouldn't go to air, but apparently
Happy Saturday, everyone, and what a happy Saturday this is. What a place to be and what a qualifying day it could become. Welcome along to the French Riviera and to Monaco, the 71st Formula One World Championship. Monaco Grand Prix, a race has been won from pole 32 of the previous 70 occasions, but where the winner has come from the top 3 on the grid 60 times out of the 70 Grand Prix. That's how important qualifying around this 2-mile circuit is going to be later. 78 laps to come in tomorrow's race. Who is going to claim pole, and is it going to be a continuation of the Charles Leclerc happy story around these streets? Winner from pole last year and the fastest man in FP1 and FP2 yesterday. C6 tyre is new for this year and new to Monaco. We had it in Imola last week. C5 is the medium, C4 is the hard, the C is blue. That's the SEA, not the C for the tyre compounds. It's blue, it's calm, it is a perfect day. The temperature is rising, and Karun Chandok, I don't know about you, I know it's a big weekend of motorsport, but there is nowhere on planet Earth I would rather be than right here today in Monaco.
Oh, big statement.
Oh, come on, it's qualifying day in Monaco.
Exactly. It is the most important qualifying of the season. Q3, the most important lap that the drivers will do of the season. And I'm super excited because, you know what? Coming into the weekend, we thought it's going to be the 2 McLarens versus Max.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Ferrari are in play. They are absolutely in contention. And Charles Leclerc, Crofty, he's magic around here. And yesterday, on every run, on every set of tyres, we were seeing that magic come together. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, yesterday, so Ferrari, so goody, if I can paraphrase a bit. Today is often a different day, though. Now, I suspected they'd turn the engines up a little bit. The data suggests that could be the case, but that might not just be the extent of where Ferrari's pace was coming from. And they do believe, and I think this is important for a team, that they are in the hunt today.
I think that's all they can ask for, right? I think last year, if we rewind the clock, at this stage of the weekend, Leclerc was a clear favourite. You know, it was really a question of, this is Charles' pole to lose. This year, circumstances are different. You know, the Ferrari has had a tough start to the season. Despite this man winning the sprint in China, it's been a difficult start to the season. But I think what they can ask for, really, is to be in the fight. And that's what they've got. So we think 2 McLarens, certainly 2 Ferraris, and at least Max Verstappen. We haven't seen what Mercedes have got.
So that's the good red. The bad red was Ollie Behrman,
yes,
and a 10-place grid penalty for overtaking under red flags, which you just can't do. Lance Stroll, who Charles Leclerc ran into the back of, was found to be at fault for the crash. He gets a 1-place grid penalty. Not the track where you want a grid penalty, but those are the stewards' decisions. Done and dusted. Let's head down to the pit lane. Ted Kravitz, good afternoon.
Hello, Crofty. Hello, Karun. Hello, everybody from the pit lane. It's going to be a busy day down here, and we've got the best view for you to let you know exactly what's happening in all the garages. We can see into the McLaren garage. So much expectation, so much untapped potential they felt from yesterday. It was good. It was fine. Yes, one of them had an off and broke a front wing, but it wasn't as good as Ferrari. The answer to your question, Ferrari, really? As you've been saying, Karun, is that yes, Ferrari really. But they've shown that they can slip up on Saturday. Lewis Hamilton going out. In fact, looks like he's one of the first. Okay, burning up a set, or putting a lap on a set of hard tyres. Let's see how that goes for him. And feeling that there is a 10th or 2 to be found from within him, as Max is late, isn't he, Crofty?
He is a bit.
Max is late to the car, but Red Bull also feeling they've got some performance in there. That's one of the security guys just shepherding Max Verstappen. Didn't have to worry about getting him through the crowds because everyone's been kicked out ahead of FP3. But they'll all be mindful, won't they, Crofty, that the barriers, they haven't moved from yesterday.
Nope.
And we have many people finding them yesterday. Today, FP3 especially, not the session you want to crash the car.
Yes, they haven't moved, but there were plenty of drivers trying to move them yesterday. I know Monaco, you get a lot of brushes with the barriers, but there seemed to be more yesterday, and I wonder if that was because the pace was that much hotter, because we're on the softer compound tyres from previous years. I don't know. Jenson Button, welcome to our commentary box.
Hello, lovely to be here.
It is lovely to have you here. Were you a yay-sayer or a nay-sayer when it came to the Ferrari pace yesterday? And after reflecting overnight, where do you stand on this one?
Well, they were quick. They were quickest, but obviously we've found out since that bit of their lap time was on the straights, so maybe their engines were turned up, as you mentioned before. So they're still in there, though, and they can get the tyres working. It's as James Vowles from Williams said yesterday, a lot of the teams are really struggling to get those front tyres in the working window.
And as a result, Karun, teams might be tinkering a bit with how they prepare those tyres as well, on track and off track.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to see, I think, multiple laps because of that, because we're seeing drivers get down to Saint-Devote, the first right-hand corner, think the front bite isn't quite there. They then have a little bit of a go up the hill, think with the longer corners of Massenet gets some energy, but it's not quite there. So we'll see multiple laps.
Car performance. McLaren obviously the fastest, leading both championship. Red Bull have done nothing in terms of the data there. Well, they have done something, but it's not given them a gain between Australia and Imola, and that's important because Imola, they had the big upgrade. Mercedes improving, Ferrari improving just a little bit. Williams losing pace, according to that.
And Racing Bulls.
Now, that surprises me somewhat, given the way that both teams have been scoring points, but I'm not an engineer.
Yeah. Anyway, but nice stats. Yeah, it's a funny one around here, isn't it? It's weird how there's so many more cars in the barriers, and maybe it is because they can't get the front tyre working, as you said, Karun. So yeah, this isn't a place you don't want to be confident. You really have to be confident on the brakes here. You've got to be able to hit that pedal hard into turn 1 and hope that it's going to turn and not lock up.
But I think Ted sort of briefly touched on a really important point, Crofty, which is you don't really want to crash the car in FP3. No. We've seen drivers in the past, Fernando Alonso, 2010, I think it was, Ferrari crashed up at this particular corner there. Max Verstappen had a crash down at the swimming pool chicane, didn't he?
Charles Leclerc had a crash.
Charles Leclerc.
When getting pole.
Yes, but I mean in FP3, which means you miss qualifying. So you've got to be a little bit mindful of that.
Yeah, but Karun, did you ever drive around here in FP3 and think, you know what, I'm going to take it a little bit easier this session? As soon as that visor closes, you don't.
Well, I'll be honest, the team I was driving with didn't have a spare front wing, so I was a bit cautious at most moments.
It's a fair... Right, we'll ask you, did you ever drive an FP3 thinking, I can't crash this one?
No. I mean, you never want to crash anyway, so you're always thinking, you know your limits, but sometimes it just goes a little bit wrong.
First championship Monaco Grand Prix was won by an Argentine driver, Juan Manuel Fangio, in 1950. We're on board with the latest Argentine driver in Formula One. A return back in Imola last weekend for Franco Colapinto, who didn't have the greatest of qualifying sessions, even though he did manage to reach Q2. He went off at Tamburello and he finishes this lap, and I'd suggest a little bit cautious, a 1:21.9.
He's gone fastest, though. Look at that. See, he's pushing.
I love the way you take a positive from everything. Well done.
But also, talking about pushing in a session, if they're not pushing, they're not getting the right read on what the car's doing either, so you kind of have to.
Kimi Antonelli didn't arrive as late as Max Verstappen, but he's not going out for some time. Why is this? Are they just waiting for the track to ramp up a little bit? Don't want to waste tyres just yet?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, it is a bit green. Obviously, we've had the F3s running, which would have helped a little bit, but...
and it had the beer wash last night, the traditional Friday beer wash.
Well,
how was that?
It was pretty impressive, actually. Raskas was was round about 40 persons deep.
I was going to say, T. Kravitz and I thought, oh, we'll have a little wander, and sort of took 5 steps in and thought, no, we're just going to do a U-turn.
But you imagine in any other sport,
I know,
right? Having a bar on the pitch.
I know.
That's basketball, having it,
You could smell it. I mean, I don't think you didn't do a support race here, did you? In your junior career?
No, never, no.
I did World Series by Renault one year, and we had a free practice session. I think it was 7:45 a.m. because they just shoehorned in the schedule.
The people were still going home.
You could smell the beer as you were driving through Raskas at the swimming pool.
Oh, lovely.
It's quite the experience. I had to push through it on the way to the coach, and I almost missed it last night as well when we came back. But there are no such troubles today, and look at that. Franco Colapinto keeping out of the way very nicely indeed for this man, Liam Lawson, to carry on his push lap. Lawson, yesterday, top 5 for Racing Bulls, who confirmed to me, yes, they did have the engine tweaked up a little bit. Nonetheless, confidence boosting for the young man from New Zealand.
Yeah, he needs it, doesn't he? It's been not been the easiest year in Formula One, but lovely to see him put in a good lap yesterday. And it was his teammate, actually, that had the incident.
Yes, it was. Right, into the daylight we come once again, dropping down to the Nouvelle chicane. That's where his teammate hit the wall with his rear tyre on the left yesterday. No such problems for Liam Lawson, and through to back he goes.
But it generally felt like one of Liam's better days at Racing Bulls, wasn't it? Like he was there or thereabouts, and you know, through practice, and seemed to be developing the pace with every run quite nicely. So it's a funny one for Liam Jensen, isn't it? Because last year he looked good when he was dropped in it alongside Yuki. His confidence after the Red Bull experience must have been on the floor, but the talent is still there. It's just want to see if he can rebuild that.
That's the thing, waking it up again, isn't it? Because if every time you get in the car you think, I have to beat my teammate this weekend because he's trounced me over the last few, it's really, really difficult. You need to be able to just arrive and think, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and do my best and forget about the rest of what's going on in the world around. But it's tough.
Father, son, and new superstar down at Mercedes. You had the privilege of being the boss. You bring the family to work.
Well,
nice.
Yeah, and young Jack Wolford's now in karting, isn't he? So Mercedes 2040 driver, maybe? Who knows?
Give me a better watch out then, to be honest.
He'll still be around, won't he?
Yeah, correct. Just to pick up on Liam Lawson, though, just remember back to his F2 days, 2021 here, where he had an F2 sprint victory. Yeah, I know he was disqualified and it was an illegal throttle map and that, but we know he can go well around here, and he's proven that in the junior formula. And the track is very low grip, as you would expect, which explains why people are staying in the garages for some time.
But you know what? It doesn't get better if everyone stays in the garage. It just gets hotter.
Yeah, it's not magic, is it?
No. But yeah, you say that, but every single week, that seems to be a theory, that it will get better if we just stay here for a little bit longer. Yeah, 20 years have passed since Williams last took a podium finish here in Monaco. Could they possibly have that on their CV by the end of this weekend? They were certainly looking strong yesterday. So Liam Lawson, fastest man, times from just him and Franco Colapinto. Lewis Hamilton went out on a set of hards just to scrub them in and then return to the pits. And Hamilton could do that because he had 2 sets of hard tyres left. Charles Leclerc used up a set of hard tyres yesterday and then handed them back. So Hamilton just preparing, putting a heat cycle through the hards to use in the race. I'm surprised that with this, seagulls in the background. It is, isn't it? Where are we? Grimsby? Come on. Never heard seagulls in Monaco before. I know we're by the sea, but normally the parties drown them all out. I'm surprised that people are actually touching the hard compound tyre before the race. It's mandatory 2 stops. Could stop under a red flag. You've got to run 3 different compounds. Surely the hards would be the race tyre, right?
Well, clearly the ones that have burnt up a set of hard tyres think that the medium has got enough longevity to do 2 stints. Because if one of those stints is only going to be 7 or 8 laps, right? If you're going to pit early on, or pit late on, then you don't need to do that many laps, and you just need 1 set of hards to do a big chunk in the middle. I can only assume that's the sort of rationale behind that thinking.
Yeah. One quick question. I should know this answer, so I'm sure I'll be picked up for it. But it's mandatory 2 pit stops.
Yeah.
Do you have to change tyres on the second pit stop?
You have to change. Yes, mandatory 2 tyre changes.
Tyre changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liam Cunningham here, as he often is in Monaco, and in years gone by he would have been here with his great friend Eddie Jordan and enjoying a wonderful Monaco Grand Prix weekend. And this is our first Monaco without Eddie, and I have to say, for all the fun we're having and for all the brilliance that is Monaco, we really miss EJ here. And to spend time in his company on a Monaco Grand Prix weekend was always a good time. And he guaranteed it was a good time. So we miss you, Eddie. I'm sure you're watching down and enjoying the action as well.
I had a lovely moment coming in yesterday. On one of the boats, somebody was flying a Jordan flag.
Oh,
it's nice to see.
He'll be up there doing deals with God, won't he?
Yeah.
Heavy wheeler dealer.
And he would tell me, Crofty, stop talking about tyres. But I need to talk about tyres. The ruling, and it is the first time this has been put into the regulations, is that you have to run 3 different types of, or 3 sets of tyres during the race.
Yeah. So 2 different compounds, just so we're clear, so you don't...
Yeah, 2 different compounds,
so they haven't
3
gone
different
for,
sets.
They haven't gone for my rule, which I've been
Which
saying
is
for
one of each.
One of each for the last, I don't know how many ever years I've been doing this. Basically, you know, we've had a lot of one-stop dull race, and I always said it's really simple. Have one rule, one line in the regs saying you have to use all 3 types of compound.
Yeah, that'd be
dyes.
good. Yeah, Karun, good job. They're not using that though.
No.
But even with 2 stops, I think it is good.
It's going to be good.
I think it's exciting. We're going to have people doing weird and wonderful things. And it's going to push the guys at the front to push harder on their tyres. You know, you're going to have people on lap 1 changing tyres.
Yeah.
So it mixes it up, which is nice.
And then if we get a safety, a red flag on the first lap and a red flag on the second lap, next year it'll be 4 different sets of tyres.
Exactly.
And we'll keep going until we get it right.
Yeah, and you can change 1 tyre and it has to be a different type.
Oh, really simple. You can't pit under the safety car or the BSC. Really simple. One line again.
FIA presidents in the making, Karun Shandok. Nico Hülkenberg has the quickest time, half a second clear of Isaac Hadjar, who would just want to keep clear of anything metallic on the side of the track. Even though he had the pace yesterday, it was one of those Monaco days, wasn't it? Here's Esteban Ocon going 6th fastest. Esteban Ocon finished and qualified 3rd previously here. Has a podium in Monaco. Dearly would love that, I'm sure, this weekend. 2023 was his podium year. But Haas, I don't think, fancy their chances, even before Ollie Behrman's 10-place grid penalty.
No, it's definitely not a race for them, it doesn't seem. But this is quite a weird session, isn't it? How there's only a few cars out there, and every time they do a lap, they go quicker.
Yeah, but it's kind of FP3 Monaco, isn't it? Nothing happens for the first 25 minutes, and then they all complain of traffic for the next 35 minutes.
And you understand why, because they want to get the circuit needs to be as close to qualifying as possible. But do you want to stick some more regs in there, Karun? It says they have to run in the first 20 minutes.
No, I pick and choose the bits that matter. Qualifying in the race.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's still awesome seeing one Formula 1 car out there pushing to the limit, even though it's low grip. But
Hadjar to the line for 2nd fastest time. That's interesting. That puts Hülkenberg's lap into a little bit of perspective there. 500ths off Isaac Hadjar. Nico Hülkenberg, he's been a bit unlucky over the years, I would say, here in Monaco. He's only reached Q3 once. He's had 11 attempts to reach Q3. He's only reached Q3 once. He has, though, started 11th on 6 occasions. So that's the hard luck story for Monaco, I think.
Yeah. I mean, 10th or 11th. I mean,
but
you're probably better off starting 11th. Remember when we used to have the tyre change?
See, there you go, finding the positives once again.
See, you remember when you were outside the top 10, you could run whatever you wanted at the start of the race. Tabac seems to get tighter every year, I see it.
Well, Leclerc was amazing through there. I was just looking at some of the overlays compared to the McLarens or Lewis, and Tabac was the corner where Charles just carried more speed on the way in through the apex and on the way out. He is mighty around here, Crofty. Is it 3 poles so far, chasing his 4th Monaco pole this weekend, is he?
Yep, absolutely. Charles Leclerc over the years has been on pole last year, on pole 2022, and on pole in 2021.
And how many years?
When he didn't start.
How many years has he been in Ferrari?
With Ferrari, 4. Because we didn't have a race in 2020 here.
So every year?
Every year, well, he's been kind of right up there, apart from 6th in 2023.
He was 2019 we were here, weren't we? We were here 2019, and he was at Ferrari then.
Oh, right, so there you go, 5 then. I'm not going to disagree. It's Karun on numbers once more.
Exactly.
Well, only because I know he won his first race in 2019 in Monza. That podium was amazing.
Well, there you go, then. I'd completely forgotten that was 2019.
6 years ago.
When you get to our age, well, my age even, Leclerc on the track now. Out of the tunnel, down to the chicane, heavy on the brakes, and then it's not just the stopping, it's the keeping it under control, and you're so busy on the wheel.
We're sliding a lot. Let's talk.
And I wonder, well, Leclerc a 10th down here. Hülkenberg setting his time on the medium tyre, by the way.
Yeah.
And we need to keep an eye on that, because will teams do what Aston Martin did last week and just keep back a set of the mediums to use at some stage in qualifying?
Yeah, a couple of teams were testing it yesterday, weren't they? Williams actually was testing mediums and
I
softs
think
comparing.
they were.
Oh,
that's Nico Hülkenberg at the final corner. Has he hit the barrier?
oh, I think he stopped just at the. You can see the tyre marks.
Yeah.
Stopped just before hitting the wall.
Wing looks okay, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's just going to be.
That was the reason for the yellow flag. So yeah, Hülkenberg on the medium tyre. Keep an eye on that as we see exactly what happened.
Oh, he was starting a lap.
Yeah.
That's strange, isn't it?
So has he just lost it as he's trying to put his foot down?
Front inside lock-up. Tyres weren't up to temp, I guess.
Sure what happened there?
Went straight on. That's what happened there. Just didn't have the grip. There's the Ferrari just zipping through, saying thank you very much.
As one of the only two dads on the grid, do you see a very sweet moment that Nico Hülkenberg's daughter came in the pit lane, looked up in the balcony, saw him upstairs in the engineering office, and just abandoned her mum, ran up the stairs to see Dad. It was very sweet.
Love it. Lando Norris on a lap now. We'll go down to 10 in a couple of seconds, but let's just focus on this. He's done a 19.1 for the first sector, which is a 10th up. McLaren yesterday, I think, quite content with the way the day went, but knowing that they've probably got a lot more pace in that car to unlock. But if it's a car that benefits in a race by keeping its rear tyres, you know, cooler, then lack of extra ability to light those rear tyres up in qualifying should be the trade-off for that, which is probably why they're not quite as dominant on a Saturday as they are on a Sunday. And they're at great pains to state as well. All these accusations, we're cooling the tyres with water, with fluids, you know, we trick materials on the sensors. It's all a load of rubbish. We've just got good downforce at the rear and we're not sliding as much.
The ride quality didn't look as good as the Ferrari yesterday. You know, even braking for Sandevaux, it just looked like a bit more vertical movement. We saw Oscar have that lock up and go straight on. I wonder if, you know, again, they would have done some work overnight. I'm sure they've had someone working hard in the simulator, but that's one of the things that didn't look as good on the McLaren yesterday.
Verstappen using up one of his 2 sets of mediums that he's still got left. Charles Leclerc's just on a 19 seconds dead for the first sector. Verstappen through the first sector has matched that. Leclerc's finding pace as the track will ramp up over and over and over again as each lap is completed.
All 20 cars now on track, Crofty, so the 2 Mercedes, the last 2 to leave the pit counter.
Is Alonso just left? No, Alonso's just in his garage still.
Yeah, so he's coming, yeah.
The front looked a lot stronger on that Red Bull than it did yesterday. Through to back, he was on the throttle before he hit the apex.
And Leclerc goes quicker still. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, 2nd and 3rd fastest. Hulkenberg holding up in 4th. Ted, let's head down to you.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Fernando Alonso still in the garage. I think he's the only one, Crofty, although Alpine are about to bring one of their cars in. Just checking on the Aston Martin, I can't see any, and there's no work going on to it. And he looks all ready to go. So, yeah, Stroll out, but Alonso not yet out there. Interesting, just watching from the pit lane, the McLaren's just bouncing over that curb on the exit of the swimming pool, but able to land the car and then get straight on the gas. So that looked pretty good. Alonso going out now, by the way, on the soft tyre.
As Yuki Tsunoda, also on the medium tyre, goes 4th fastest. We've got a real mix there in the top 10. 5 on soft, 5 on mediums. So it's not just the race, JB, where the strategy comes into play here.
Yeah, exactly. It's and also when are you going to use your tyres? If you prefer the medium tyre, when will you actually use that? Will you save it for Q2, Q3? It's a tricky one. So
I suppose it depends on what you think your ultimate best lap is going to be, and then what the ultimate target time for getting in or out of various sessions is going to be.
Realistically, you would think the soft tyre just should be better around here. Not so many high-speed corners, but you would go for the medium in Q1, as you mentioned yesterday, because you need to do more laps on the tyre because you're going to have traffic for many.
Caveat to that is, do you need 2 sets of mediums for the race? Because if you look at the tyre sheet at the moment, nobody's. You know, you haven't got more than 2, have you? So you might. I think that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
Is could you, if you did 1 run in Q1, as you're suggesting, those tyres still should be okay to do a stint in the race.
Yeah.
So I think those are the conversations to be had before we get to qualifying.
Not if you're pitting on lap 10 for your second stop.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
So that's what I mean. There's lots of sort of permutations in that.
Lando Norris puts 3.5 tenths between himself and Charles Leclerc. The way it's shaping up, you might just get your wish here, where they run a hard, medium and soft in the race tomorrow.
Because I think the thing to point out, Crofty, is to make the strategy work, unlike we saw in a place like Miami, right, where it's about bringing the tyres in gently to get longevity, it's absolutely the opposite.
Yeah.
You have to go out of the pits and hammer the tyres on the outlap, and whatever bit of free air you get as soon as you come out of the pits, just hammer it, even if you lose performance later on, because the gain is going to be in that early part.
Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton getting close together on the entry into Casino Square. Hamilton was going a lot slower.
Tried to get out of the way. I couldn't see past the car that was behind me.
And an explanation there as to why he wasn't completely out of the way or far enough away for Carlos Sainz's liking. So tomorrow's race, because overtaking, you know, is kind of rarer than snow on a camel's back when it comes to Monaco. It's all about racing against the clock, isn't it? How fast can we do this race? And will that be enough to get to the checkered flag first?
Well, and also how early can we do our last stop? That's normally the way, isn't it? How early can we do that last stop and hold on for the rest of the race? And interestingly, you know, looking at the tyres, it's McLaren and Hamilton that are lacking 2 sets of the medium tyres. So you'd say they would be at a disadvantage if we're thinking that the tyre for the race is the medium.
Yeah. You probably do. You can do 6 laps on a medium here, still take it into the race if you were using them in qualifying, but you wouldn't want to if you could get away with it. We're watching Charles Leclerc on the stopwatch currently, another fastest first sector from him. If you want to ride on board with Charles Leclerc, you can of course do so, and we are riding on board with him on the left-hand side of your screen. There's a QR code for you. It'll help you get to your Sky Sports app. Use your Sky Sports ID to log in. Sky Glass, Sky Q, Sky Stream, or Now customers, just press the interactive button on your remote control. Team radio and onboards all available for you. And by the end of the qualifying, if you're using the onboard channel, you'll be watching from behind the sofa with your hands covering your eyes, because it's frightening.
Yeah, like me right now. I love that little drift from Charles through Raskas. He just got the rear nicely rotating to get the good exit.
And it worked for him. 10th and a half up on Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz, point scorer in each and every one of his 9 Monaco Grand Prix that he has started. Crosses the line. 10th fastest only for Williams. Karun Chandok. Why is there 3/10 difference between Leclerc and Norris in the first sector?
That's where he was strong. Yesterday.
That one's just gone purple in the first sector.
Yeah, but I mean, we sort of saw that difference yesterday, didn't we? Between Leclerc and the McLarens. First sector in Leclerc's favour, middle sector McLaren. The middle sector is a load of slow corners. You go through, you know, Grand Mirabeau, the hairpin, Portier, and then the chicane. Whereas the first sector is a bit more flowing. You've got the punch up the hill as well. And high speed, we know, is the strength of the Red Bull. We saw it in Imola, the first sector there. They were very strong.
Verstappen to the end of the middle sector, 34.2. Which is pretty decent, but once again he was quite strong in the opening parts of this lap. Remember when he got pole ahead of Fernando Alonso here, Max Verstappen in 23, and he took 2/10 out of Alonso's time just on the final sector, which is pretty unheard of here in Monaco because it's such a short sector. Goes fastest.
It does, and at that point, you know, if you've pushed really hard, especially on the soft tyre, they've taken a pounding, especially traction.
That's the Alpine right in the way there, and I don't think it could really have done much to get out of the way. Quite frankly, Franco Colapinto was the car. Piastri goes 4th fastest.
He did have a little snap at Raskas as well. I don't know if that was the issue because of the dirty air in front. The car was going so slow, unlikely. So I think he was a bit on the nose there anyway.
Yeah, he'd matched Lando, hadn't he, the first 2 sectors. If anything, he was maybe a 10th up on Lando's time. So yeah, Piastri will be there in that fight with Verstappen and Norris up at the top.
Gabriel Bortoletto throwing his Sauber car around. Man who's out-qualified Nico Hülkenberg in the past 2 qualifying sessions. the last classified finisher, hasn't he, Bortoleto? It is the last 3 Grand Prix that he's finished. But he says, don't judge me on total performance or lack of points. That was Tsunoda ahead of Hadjar.
Yeah, that was dangerous by Yuki.
Well, Isaac Hadjar knows a thing or two about slow-moving cars in the tunnel.
It just shouldn't happen.
It's the thing, Jensen was saying quite rightly yesterday, you should never, ever be going slowly in the tunnel, ever.
Well, not on the left-hand side as well.
Yeah, my bad to Hadjar. It was not ideal.
But it's where the light changes as well. I mean, your eyes take half a second to get used to the sunlight as you come out, and that's exactly where Tsunoda-san was.
No further investigation from the stewards on that one. Oh, and he did. Kimi Antonelli to Gabriel Bortoleto. That's where Kimi hit the wall yesterday during practice.
Colapinto's struggling, isn't he? Like yesterday, he was a second off. We thought, did he have a problem or something on the lap? But again today, he's a second off Gasly on this first run of the tyres. So we'll see as the session unfolds. But this is proving to be a bit of a challenge for him this weekend.
And he was without Lance Stroll's issue after being hit by Charles Leclerc in an incident that he received the penalty for. Colapinto would have been last in FP1, and I think was last in FP2 yesterday. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, thanks, Crofty. Just down looking into the Alpine garage. I interviewed Colapinto after the session, gave him every opportunity to say whether there was an issue on his fastest lap, and that, you know, there wasn't. He just sort of rolled his eyes and said, well, you know, I wasn't able to get a fast lap in for whatever reason. I just wonder how much that is the drive fast, don't crash thing. But he's clearly not happy with the car on the limit, but we'll see what he manages to do in qualifying. Just a quick one in Williams, just looking into their garage. Alex Albon not saying he was particularly happy with the car yesterday, but the speed was still there, targeting a top 10 at least in qualifying with both of them. But is Sainz struggling a bit today from what you're seeing?
He is at the moment, but it could be on a different plan though, and not quite as lightly fueled as others. I'll tell you who isn't struggling, it's Charles Leclerc, lap after lap. He's right up there, and he's into the 1:11.5s now, 10th up on Max Verstappen. Hamilton third and Tsunoda fourth. On the weekend, he becomes the most experienced Japanese racing driver in Grand Prix ever, getting... was it Yuko Kasiyama, wasn't it? The previous most experienced Japanese driver.
Leclerc is he's just dynamite around this place, isn't he? I know he's more familiar with every inch of the street than anyone else, but he is just spectacular to watch. Ooh. Oh.
Yeah, completely blocked me.
I kind of didn't sense the arrival of Ocon, didn't see in the mirrors, and yeah, that was a blocking. I mean, it is practice. Yuki acknowledged that it was his fault, put his hand up and said, yeah, look, sorry about that, Isaac. But this is what happens when people try and make a bit of a gap, because you need 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds at least here not to be disturbed, and they want to make sure they can do that to start the lap. Karun, take us through this.
Yeah, using lots of curve at the apex of Saint-Devote, then up the hill. So just an amazing feeling when you go over the crest of Massenet and chuck the car in to the left-hander through Casino Square now, dropping downhill. He's got a little bit of traffic in front, which is again Tsunoda, but I think couldn't see behind the trees, but let's assume he got out of the way. But he's down, isn't he? He's a long way down in the first sector, so maybe Piastri's taking the best out of these tyres. We'll see as the lap unfolds. Yeah, rear of the car again squirming about. So the track temperature 41 degrees. Maybe those rear tyres are crying enough. Let's see if the chicane felt like he went a little bit deep in the first apex there, and that compromised the line for the second part. Just looking from high up now. Plenty of curb as we come through the second part of this vertical chicane. The car didn't land off that curb particularly well on the rear. And again, coming back to the ride quality, it's been quite important around here, more so than most other circuits, as Piastri up to the line, improved second and third sector, but the first one was down.
Scruffy.
Yeah, interestingly, the Alex Albon's just done an 18.6 in the first sector, 4/10 up on what Norris has actually done in the first sector.
Verstappen, little problems with him. Those medium tyres working so well as he crosses the line to extend his advantage out in front. 3/10 now to Charles Leclerc. Here comes Alex Albon. He goes 4th fastest. So whereas he might have been struggling in the early stages here, now we're into the second half an hour. He's right up there in the top 4. Pierre Gasly next to cross the line. Gasly's been a pretty solid performer, I think, in qualifying of late. That's just 11th for him as it stands.
Yeah, but so far, Verstappen and Leclerc are on a different planet to everybody else, aren't they? Yeah. Third place, Lewis being 6/10 off. When we get to Q3, you expect the entire top 10 to be in less than that, normally?
Oh, I think they will be by the end of the session. Yeah. It's just finding the lap, and it's just getting better every lap. Being on the medium tyre would definitely be the preferable tyre right now, as they've done so many laps on these tyres. So that's an advantage.
That lap by Piastri, JB, was he'd done 7 laps. Yeah, 7 laps on those tyres. Come in for a change of tyre, or come in for a pit stop, and gone out again. It was only his first flying lap after he left the pit lane. So I wonder if they made some setup adjustments as well that haven't quite come off.
They've also put the fuel back in.
Yeah.
So that, as we've seen, people aren't really getting on their first lap. It's taken them a while. Some of that is confidence, but some of that is the fuel also coming off around a place like this as the track grip goes up.
And Verstappen pits, which makes you feel that he'd come to the end of whatever fuel life they wanted to explore.
And actually, how many times, as Colapinto kisses the barrier there, how many times, Crofty, this season have we come out of FP3 and seen big gaps? Think of Bahrain.
Yeah.
The McLaren's miles ahead of everyone. Miami. And actually, you know, when it sort of shakes out in qualifying, the others turn the engines up and it all gets a bit closer. So it's always a little bit dangerous to read too much into the times. In this session, oh, that's naughty.
Come on, Franco. So, yes, he's trying to back up there. He's looked in his mirrors. He's looked in his mirrors again. He's seen Behrman coming. And is he trying to get out of the way, or
No.
what's he trying to do there? See, that to me is just nonsensical. On a hot lap, Lando Norris.
What's Stroll doing? He's just with blue flag, isn't he? Yeah. No, good.
I mean, the problem is for Stroll, he's got a Ferrari in front of him, so...
Yeah, but he was he strolling? Was Lando right to feel aggrieved there?
We were having this debate, Jensen, this morning on the bus coming into work about whether...
Fun bus chat this morning.
Yeah, about whether Q1 should be split into groups. Crofty and I are of the opinion of, listen, part of the challenge of Monaco, and it's always been difficult with traffic, is that, trying to make it work. What do you think?
As long as, you know, it's not just done by the quickest 15 cars, 16 cars. You know, it has to be done by... Because the the B part of Q1 would always be quicker.
Yeah, and that's where it gets impossible to actually
So you
do
can
it.
just choose half the drivers from each session would work better.
Also, the spectacle would be halved, and just 20 cars all trying to get out of the bottom 5 in Q1. Absolutely phenomenal spectacle. And we get... Year after year, we talk about it going into qualifying, and year after year, they manage to sort it all out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always become an issue.
Because you can't also split it down the middle, can you?
No.
Cars. Because it's 15 cars, it's 7.5 cars in each session.
Ted Kravitz at Red Bull.
Who, Crofty, after going down a bit of a blind alley on the setup, particularly on Verstappen's car, or rather going over the top of performance, have found the sweet spot, haven't they?
Yeah.
That Red Bull is going to be the biggest challenger to Ferrari. In fact, we could flip it and say maybe Ferrari will be the biggest challenger to Red Bull later on in qualifying today. And you know that when Yuki Tsunoda is banging in the lap times, and he is quick around here. P6 at the moment, and still with the older nose cone and floor. And I've actually double-checked this with the team. I don't know if you can see this. Yuki with the old nose that goes down and meets the main front wing main plane. Max with the new one, with the separated nose, the nose a little bit further up, allowing that better bite from the front wing main plane. So Max with the new, even so with Yuki with the old, as an afterthought from his, or a consequence of his Imola crash, Yuki is actually up there in qualifying. So, yeah. They found it once again, haven't they? They found the setup once again, like they always do.
The guy who was on pole last year and the guy who was on pole the year before that are the two that are out in front currently, separated by a couple of tenths of a second. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Norris and Hamilton third and fourth. Hamilton half a second adrift of Max. Yuki Tsunoda in sixth, as Ted was saying. It's funny, isn't it? We come to Monaco year after year, and we all really enjoy being here, and then we spend a large part of the weekend talking about how we change it and make things better, even though we're actually really quite enjoying the spectacle of the cars here.
Yeah, I think it's always, you're just looking at the racing point.
I'm happy the car is giving me a good feeling. It's just, I need to see where it can be quicker.
Interesting feedback from Carlos Sainz.
He's half a second down on Albon, isn't he? That's quite a big margin.
What I love about this mandatory 2 stops or running 3 sets of tyres is that it goes against everything that the engineering side of this sport stands for, which is excellence and accuracy and engineering, so you know what the outcome should be. But then you put it into a live sporting context, and then you add the chaos theory that is this new regulation, and it just goes against what the engineers are striving for. And I love that, because it's chaos meets engineering, and that to me should be the recipe. Brilliant, Liam Lawson. That's exactly where you need to be. No closer than that. Look at that. Spot on.
Fantastic.
And that to me just energizes this race for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hope it does anyway.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be different, and that's the main thing. Is none of us wanted a repeat of last year's procession. The drivers hated it. It wasn't exciting for the fans at home or us in the commentary boxes.
Yeah. The issue was that the leaders didn't have to push. They just drive around slowly and look after the tyres. This year it's different. You know, there's more to play with, and for the engineers, for the strategists, and
I just really hope we don't get an early safety car, because it will, it'll just give people the chance to do cheap early pit stops, which sort of takes the fun out of the race that we're hoping to have with this change of rules.
Yeah, chances are around here you get obviously early safety cars, because it's the start of the race. Cars are full of fuel and everyone's trying to take whatever opportunity they can. And then you often get accidents kind of 3/4 of the way through the race. I did ask someone about that once, who was had the knowledge. They said that a lot of that is down to driver mental fatigue, where you actually get to the stage of the race, JB, you've done it many times, where your brain just starts hurting a bit.
it does. And last year they wouldn't have had that.
Yeah.
Because they just drive around, cruise around. When you're having to push every lap, it is mentally very, very tough around here. Nico Hülkenberg up to 7th on a second set of tyres, I would say.
Yes, because his first set was a mediums.
Yes, it was definitely a second set of tyres. It's funny to see such big gaps between teammates, isn't it, at the moment? Big chunks. I mean, you look at Norris and Piastri, there's 6 tenths between them, which isn't normal.
Yeah, sorry. I just wonder if that's a lot down to Piastri's lap just looking really scruffy as well. I don't think it'll be that by the end of the session. You're right. So on board with Liam Lawson a few moments ago, and then we heard this from Carlos Sainz.
I'm happy the car is giving me a good feeling. It's just, I need to see where it can be quicker.
James Vowles is the team principal at Williams. He's with us on the pit wall this weekend. Can you shed some light on that message? Where can Carlos be quicker? Because it seems he's struggling just a touch at the moment, James.
There's a few areas. He's losing a tiny bit in turn 1, tiny bit in 3, 4 relative to Alex. Those are sort of the primary gains and losses. But what he'll do now, what he really means is he needs to spend some time looking at the data that I can see in front of me in the garage so that he can go back out and work on those areas.
Hey, James, it's Jensen.
Hi, Jensen.
We've just been talking a lot. I know we're looking towards qualifying right now, but we've just been talking a lot about the race and strategy. Have your guys been hard at it with working on strategy and finding a special way to get that podium this year?
I think a podium is unfortunately far-reached, but what they've been definitely doing is making sure that we have the right tyres for qualifying, which then leads into the race. So yes, they've been looking at the race, but a lot of it really depends on whether you qualify 5th or 8th or 12th, which that will obviously figure out tonight. What they've mainly been looking at is actually, do we use the medium or the soft come quali, which I still think is a question many teams will be asking themselves.
Well, James, we've seen Max Verstappen, for example, on the medium tyre looking very quick in this session. But it's complicated, isn't it? Because it looks like the medium is going to be a race tyre for the race tomorrow as well. Just for fans at home to understand, you know, that allocation surely is key to make the decision for today as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so exactly that. When Jensen was asking about it, what I more meant was the impact is what tyres we run now in FP3 and how we run qualifying. But I think the medium's looking good as a race tyre and maybe as a qualifying tyre.
So you're keeping a set back for qualifying. Where do you use it? Get out of Q1, get into Q3, or where?
Well, we've got 2 sets, and you'll find out in qualifying.
Oh, stop this. You know how impatient I am. So can you tell me, are you keeping 2 sets back for qualifying, or does one of those need to be a race tyre as well?
I'll let you know post-session.
James Vowles, you spoil all my fun. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Grinning as he says it. Or can the medium tyre do 2? Can you do a Q1 and a Q2 on the medium tyre? Can you do a Q2 or a Q3 on the same medium tyre?
I think it really depends on your car performance. If you're in a Red Bull or a Ferrari, it's a different circumstance to if you're in a Williams. But I tell you who is absolutely flying on the soft tyre in the first sector was Max Verstappen. But I wonder, Jensen, has he overcooked it? You know, as the laps unfolded, the middle sector's gone away a bit.
It has a little bit. You could see him getting a bit of oversteer before the tunnel, which would have hurt his straight line speed all the way to the chicane out of the tunnel, the Nouveau chicane. But no, still not a bad lap. But I think we are all, I think they are just struggling on the new tyres to get the first lap out of it when they put the fuel back in. So a cool down lap and they'll go again.
Pole last year, by the way, was a 1:10.2. Still got a second to find to go faster than that.
Yeah, Verstappen did a build lap, though, didn't he? He did a 1:27 build lap to try and get some temperature into the front tyres on those softs before he went for it. This is Hamilton. So sector 1 for Lewis, about a 10th down on Max. Sector 2, couple of tenths down on Max's best. So we'll see if this brings him into the top 3.
No, keeps 5th fastest, does Lewis Hamilton. Track temperature going up all the time as well. Normally when that happens, the times don't get much quicker. And we still don't know, obviously, at this stage, what the fuel loads that the drivers are running. Half a second down for Carlos Sainz with just 1 sector to go. This should put him round about 6th fastest if he carries on at the same similar pace.
Yeah, and it just underlines what a great job Alex Albon's doing, isn't it? I saw he had the Prime Minister of Thailand here.
She was here, yes.
Yes, she was. Alex was showing her around, and obviously there's a lot of work going on there for a potential home Grand Prix for him.
And Alex is very keen for Formula One to come and experience the delights of his nation. And we're very keen to go there as well. Will be another street race, of course, but there are street races like Monaco and there are street races like Las Vegas, and they too can be quite different.
I have so much instinct, I don't know why.
Copy.
That's why he's actually backed off on his current lap. Sainz, by the way, did go 6th fastest. Albon, you say Alex is doing a great job here today, and he is. He kind of needs to as well, because he's been out-qualified by Carlos Sainz by the last 4 races. And given how he's had the handle over his teammate for the previous 2 seasons, he's only been out-qualified twice. It's quite a thing.
It is, yeah. He's still got the points in the race, though, so he'll still be brimming with confidence, I think, coming into this one.
A lot of four-wheel sliding in pit 8 at the last corner.
Okay, let's have a little look at the last corner then. That's the sliding that Max Verstappen was talking about. Ted, down to you.
So what do we got, Crofty? 14 minutes left, according to the clock that I can see down here.
Yeah.
And tune out now if you don't want to hear tyre chat. I know how you love it, but both Astons, who of course pulled the medium tyre trick in qualifying in Imola, even though, according to Karun Chandok, it was useless.
Well, no, I just looked at the numbers, Ted. They didn't improve. Everyone else improved and they didn't. That's just fact. It's not opinion.
Okay.
Just before you ban me from having a coffee ever again at Aston Martin.
They are going for it again. They are going for it again. So let's see what they do now. They're on the mediums now with 14 minutes left and everybody else on softs. Is there a decision to be made there? Is it obvious? Could it help them? I mean, the reason they do it, Karun, they thought for their car that's hard on its tyres, it was the best way. But round here, discuss.
It was a very good way to get them into Q3 in Imola last week. I know you say others didn't improve, but it was very much at the expense of the two Ferraris, who certainly weren't improving themselves, and I just think they gave themselves a real fighting chance. Max Verstappen continuing his struggles and saying that the grip just isn't there. So have we gone out of the working window of these super soft tyres now?
Possibly, but he still also has done the quickest lap on track.
Yeah.
He did 11.29, which is only 600ths off of his best.
But he's feeling there should be more improvement coming, and it's not, and that's leading him to think, well, hang on a minute.
It is a difficult one, and obviously he's on a different tyre now, but 10 kilos of fuel around here, it was 2.5 tenths back in the day. It's probably something similar. So if he's got 30 kilos in and his lap was done on 5 kilos before, 25 kilos, that's 6 tenths.
Alex Albon has matched Charles Leclerc on this lap through the first sector. He's putting a 34.0 for the middle sector.
Oh, slight correction on the way into the second swimming pool chicane and a bit of traffic. Is that going to hamper his run at the final corner?
Lance Stroll just ahead of Alex Albon as Liam Lawson moves into the top 12. Stroll crosses the line. Albon stays fourth, 4 tenths off. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda, stays seventh. Not much improvement going on with 12 minutes to go. And this is normally the time of the weekend where we'd see quite a bit of improvement. But that track temperature keeps on rising, which, you know, it's getting hotter here. Great for those that are sunbathing on the yachts, but it's not what the tyres want on the track.
Yeah, Leclerc did a very good first sector, but same like Verstappen, you know, the lap starts well, but I think the temperature issue means that they're not able to hang on. Let's see what Piastri can do. So again, same trend.
Yeah.
Improvement for sector 1, sector 2 a long way down. So Hamilton, let's have a look at him, Crofty.
The trouble with Piastri, not only did he drop time in the middle sector, but he was 2 tenths down on those that he wants to be around about with. Through the first sector, Piastri crosses the line, goes 6th fastest. He's 6 tenths down there. Hamilton's a lot closer as Gasly moves 15th. Hamilton crosses the line. Top 2, something like that go. So he lost time in the final sector.
But it's ever so close. Look, second, third, and fourth are within 700ths of a second.
Yeah, it's getting to the point now where, you know, previously they've just been building up to it in terms of every lap they did, they got faster. Now you've got to get on lap 1, and that's also tricky in these, you know, in these conditions.
But that comes back to what Ted and previously James Vowles were both saying, right? So far, the fastest time has been down on the medium tyre in the whole session.
So you might need to keep 2 sets of mediums back if you can. Lewis Hamilton has only got 1 to take into this. Norris and Piastri only got 1 set as well. Good middle sector from Lando Norris, his best of the session so far. Crosses the line, and a la Lewis Hamilton, good middle sector, and then fell away towards the end of the lap. Stays 3rd fastest. Verstappen's had enough and he's coming to the pits. George Russell is way down on this lap, 6 tenths off through the first 2 parts of the lap. Those that have kept a couple of sets of medium tyres in this temperature, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But has any one of the leaders, or those we think going for pole, got 2 sets of mediums to take in to the qualifying session? Charles Leclerc has. Max Verstappen hasn't, because he's used 1. George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, Russell's used a set. Russell hasn't used any mediums. Antonelli hasn't used any mediums. So it might just be 1 set of mediums for those that will be thinking of pole today.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Mercedes. I mean, at no point of the weekend so far they look like they're challenging the top 3, 4 in the timesheets. And let's be honest, George Russell has pulled out some pretty surprising performances in qualifying, outstanding performance in qualifying. So it might just be, again, engine mode, fuel weight, Jensen was explaining earlier. But there's not been a flash of performance anywhere, has there?
No,
like, in the past, you've seen a sector or something. It's just not happened so far this weekend.
Most of them are not gaining in the last sector, are they? So it's obviously the tyres going away from them, overheating. So are they going to have to start compromising in qualifying? You know, for turn 1, turn 2, take it a little bit easier so they have those tyres in the really important zones, which is the last 2 corners for traction.
Here we go. Here we go. Middle sector, fastest of anybody for Oscar Piastri here.
Or is it about how you treat the tyres on warm-up, and do you maybe have to go a little bit more slowly to gently bring them in, or can you know, attack and be aggressive to keep the temperature? Piastri second fastest behind Max Verstappen, and he lost the time to Verstappen in the first part of the lap. So maybe he has tried what you suggested there, just to back off a little bit in the first part.
Because his last sector was actually good.
It was. I think it's tyre preparation, isn't it? And I said this right at the start, not just on track, but also to what temperature do you heat the tyres in the blankets? How long are they in for? We know it's up to 70 degrees for 2 hours in the blankets, but you don't have to go up to 70 degrees. If you don't want to, you might actually want to keep it a little bit lower so the tyres are at different pressures and maybe a bit more robust when they come out of the blankets.
Love that chat.
I'm no chef, I don't know.
It's just so much for the drivers to think about. That's the thing. And it's, you know, these are the conversations they'll all be having in the 2-hour gap between the end of this session and getting ready for qualifying.
People are going for double calls as well.
All right, well, you tell me what you want, because at the moment we're nowhere and I'm running out of ideas for this session.
So we're doing the double call.
Yeah, here's an idea for you. Charles Leclerc, fastest in the middle parts of this lap. And if you're doing double calls as well, boy, does that make it confusing in Q1.
for traffic management for engineers. Oh, Leclerc, P1.
So Charles Leclerc, to the delights of the local Formula One fans in the grandstands, pops up right towards the end with a time that's half a tenth, 500ths of a second faster than Max Verstappen.
It's 1 year anniversary, isn't it, of him working with this man, Brian Botzi. They started together in Monaco last year and won first time out. I was talking to Charles about that on Thursday, and he's saying he's actually feels like he's got a very young team around him now. He's got his performance engineers, all of that. They've got a nice, young, energetic dynamic going on there.
Oh, that was close.
It was.
Lando Norris through the chicane has put in a 33.6 for the middle sector, fastest we've had so far. Yeah, hello. Lando can sniff an FP3 fastest time, I think, here. Is that rear sliding a bit too much, though, to give him good traction coming out of the final corner? Crosses the line third fastest.
Turn 1 already, man. It's undrivable, these tyres.
But he's nearly 700ths, only 700ths off the pace of Charles Leclerc, and Verstappen is finding things just overheating a little bit in terms of the tyres.
Yeah, his best time is still come on the medium tyres, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why I think the frustration for him.
Hang on, 5.5 minutes to go, and Lando Norris now puts in his best first sector. Kimi Antonelli puts in his best first sector. Lewis Hamilton puts in the best first sector. So is it trial and error, JB, where the teams will try a few things to treat the tyres and then they absolutely smash it at the end?
Yeah, exactly. They'll be trying to do different cooling methods. Lewis obviously had a not so good middle sector because he's backed out. Not sure if he's going to think about going for another one or pit. That was big over the curve there. When both rear tyres leave the ground, that's not normally a positive.
That was proper airborne there from Lando Norris. And that's the landing for Lando.
But, yeah, I mean, this is the middle of the day.
Lots of traffic, mate.
That's why he backed off in the middle sector. It wasn't his choice.
Let's just take it, Crofty. You know, we're obviously middle of the day now, coming up to 1:30 local time. The temperature should start to fall, particularly when we get to Q3. It might still be up at the start of Q1, and that might again swing the sort of decision back to the soft.
Fuel burning on the Ferrari, it's a little bit lighter, and Charles Leclerc is finding time. Verstappen isn't currently.
Still great space. Ferrari have put Leclerc in a lovely bit of clear space here, and that's helping him get the rhythm, I think.
All the congestion is out of Casino Square at the moment. 2.8 or 0.028 off with Max Verstappen further away for Charles Leclerc. Into the 1-minute 10s. For Charles Leclerc, suits the fan club very nicely indeed. Sonoda keeps out of the way for Piastri. Piastri was 3/10 down on Leclerc on the first sector in this lap.
The other thing with the traffic, there's only one car in the entire first sector at the moment, is Liam Lawson. You know, there's places where you can find a nice big gap, and Leclerc was the same.
Gasly's got the best gap out there, look at that.
Yeah, now, so let's keep an eye on them and see what laps they deliver. As Piastri runs up to the line and does not improve.
P4 for Oscar Piastri. Verstappen with his best time on the medium tyre. It's amazing, isn't it, how the car handling and balance changes from one set of tyres to another. Oh, we've got a double yellow being waved currently. Quite sure depending on what's happening at the moment. We've got green pretty quickly though. Carlos Sainz wants to get away from Liam Lawson as far as he can.
Yeah, Lawson was on a push lap, but because of the double yellow, he backed out a bit. And then he'll have to cool the tyres and recharge the batteries, presumably.
Ollie Behrman's on a push lap, and he's just far enough back, I think, from the car park that's forming around Raskas as people try their hardest to get some clear space. If I was Ollie Behrman, 10-place grid penalty, I'd go into qualifying full of fuel and just go round and round on a set of soft compound tyres just to see how it is in race conditions, because he's probably going to start last with that 10-place penalty.
Stopped at the Casino Square.
And he has on the outside of Casino Square. There is Lewis Hamilton. And he has hit the barriers rear right, and that is a red flag.
Front right.
And front right too. Yeah, there you go, JB. As the camera pans back, we can see the tyre. Now that's a very unusual place for a car to be hitting the barriers. Now I wonder, has he had a bit of a tank slapper there, and that's just waggled at the rear and thrown him completely out of kilter?
Yeah, it looks like he might have had a moment, I'm assuming, coming around the Hotel de Paris, the left-hander, and touched the outside barrier, or has he kissed the inside barrier at Casino Square, the right? We'll have a look in a moment, I'm sure, but it looks like generally it's the outside barrier that you end up hitting when you just carry a bit too much speed, which is actually, Crofty, remember the thing about Fernando Alonso? 2010 in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Exactly the barrier that Fernando Alonso hit in a Ferrari.
It was. Felipe Massa, did he hit Massenet once as well in an FP3 session here? A little bit sooner than that. Might need a gearbox change. You're not going to get a penalty for that. But let's ride on board. Up Beau Rivage we go. Massenet is the long left-hander, and then we get into Casino Square and see exactly. Oh, and that's where it started. So it was Massenet. That was exactly where Fernando Alonso hit.
I mean, I don't know what he was going to do if he didn't crash, because he was going to crash into the cars in front.
Guys, get the wall down. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But this is the problem. You're arriving at such a high speed there on the limit, and you've got a car in front which is losing you all your downforce on entry. So, you know, it's Lewis's mistake, but I mean, he's definitely not in a. It's not an easy situation for him at that point.
That could be risky for the gearbox, I think.
Because they'll change it.
Yeah, I think to be safe. They've been burned here once before, haven't they, with Leclerc, where they didn't change the gearbox.